Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are doing our podcast preview for you guys.
Yeah, we're talking about our perfect holidays and what we're going to be doing this year. So what you can look forward to on the channel. Make sure to subscribe.
And if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And if you want to hear the rest of this podcast, because I know you do, you can find us over where you can find any other podcasts.
Under Awkward Chats.
So let's do this.
Come get lost with us. November 2023 podcast. Welcome.
Welcome. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the holidays. We're going to be talking about Thanksgiving. We're going to be talking about some of our traditions and, you know, those kinds of things, what our favorite things to do and like what the perfect holiday would be. And then we're going to talk about some drama that we've been dealing with the YouTube channel and Google. And no, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to get a little awkward for sure.
Well, that's the point of the channel, but we're also going to talk about a little bit about our trips to Charleston because we've been in Charleston so much in South Carolina. Yeah. So we'll be touching on that too a little bit.
So we got a lot to talk about. Yeah. And we're going to talk about what we've been up to since the last time we talked.
Yeah. So what you been up to?
Today was amazing. We actually went out today and did some stuff. October was a really fun month. Because October is Gary's birthday, our anniversary, and my birthday. And obviously Halloween happens in October, and Hallmark releases the rest of their ornaments in October. So there's a lot of things that happen in October for us that we just get really excited about. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy some of that content that's coming out on the YouTube channel. We're just messing with some background noise right now, so.
No, it's applause for us because it's our anniversary and birthdays.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Cheers to another year.
I forgot to turn it on to my headphones. That's why I didn't hear it.
I heard it the second it came on. I was like, oh, there she is. I wasn't sure if I should talk over it or if I just let it go.
Keep talking. Just
so, but yeah, so we've been really busy and, you know, we tried to take some moments for ourselves and enjoy the moment. So like our anniversary dinner, we did take you guys along for the ride that day because it was a crazy day. But we also tried to take some time to enjoy the moment and be there for each other because I think that's important, especially when we live a lot of our life on camera. And sometimes it's important to like savor the moment. So, we had a roller coaster of a ride that night. When you live on both coasts, like we are right now, we go through two different time zones. We live in Eastern time zone and we live in Pacific time zone. And that is a 3-hour difference. And in my phone, our reservation that I made months ago, it saves it in your calendar and it updates to the time zone that you're in. And my mistake was that I looked back at it, made the car reservation, but it was still kind of like in Eastern time zone. Even though I was in Vegas. I saw the 8:00 time, made the pickup for 7. I'm like, we'll go to the restaurant. We'll be there. Everything will be great. Day of, my phone like alerts me at 4:20, somewhere like that. And was like, hey, traffic is light. You might want to start heading to the restaurant. And I was like, whoops.
Well, yeah, you're so bad at telling stories. So you skipped ahead of a lot of stuff. First, we had a meal. We had planned it at Golden Steer. We had reservations 6 months out. You literally went and reserved them right as they opened up. Yeah. Like that's how the whole thing started. And the problem is that she was in South Carolina when she booked the reservation. So the calendar took it as East Coast time, right? But you wouldn't know that because every time you looked at it, it said the thing, but it doesn't really say whether East Coast or West Coast time, even though it was showing you East Coast time. And so it just gave this whole like convoluted, crazy, because she reserved it in West Coast time, right? But it pulled it up in East Coast time because she was in East Coast.
Yep.
So then when she went back to the West Coast, it was 3 hours
Ahead.
well, I guess behind, because it would have thought that the reservation was at 9 and it was really at 6, or it was at
8.
5.
Yeah,
8.
it said it was at 8, but really
Right.
the reservation was at 5.
Very
And
confusing.
I kind of thought back to myself. I was like, I know we booked this as an early reservation because I was almost pretty confident we wanted to get there so that we would have a mostly empty restaurant so that we could show you guys
Yeah.
a
So-
little better of what it is without other people feeling awkward that they might get on
and
camera.
a little bit of background for us. When we try to do the fancier restaurants, we definitely try to go earlier. And we go earlier because sometimes in the fancy restaurants, like if you watch our La Revolution in New Orleans, the people get a little bit ornery, even though it blurs out the background. Our camera doesn't pick up anybody in the background unless we want it to. You still get so much grief sometimes. So to avoid all of that, we just try to go early.
We try. Yeah, we try. So, I booked us a driver, and hashtag not sponsored, but there is a company that we use here in Las Vegas that has been really good to us. I would say 80% of the time. We've had a few mishaps with them, but they're basically a limo car service, but they're not nearly as expensive as some of the other limo car services that are in the Vegas area. And we've probably used them 10 or 15 times. If you guys watch our airport videos when we get picked up at the airport, you can kind of see some of the cars that have picked us up.
Lostgirlintomorrowland at youtube.com.
And so we wanted to have a nice night where they picked us up and we could drink and we didn't have to have a driver. We didn't have to pay for an Uber. We just wanted like a little bit of a level up on that service. And unfortunately, I messed up the reservation time.
And we got a Tesla this time, which was fascinating because we did eventually use the car service.
I messed up the time for the reservation, so I had to call them and be like, I'm so sorry. And we live in the middle of nowhere, so like it would have taken them a long time to get to us anyway. So I was like, it's fine. Can I just move this reservation to like another time? Because I am going to be going out again because obviously birthdays. And they were like, yeah, not a problem. So we did end up taking it for my birthday dinner that night, but we drove. We were already ready to go. By the time I got the alert, we were ready to go. So we jumped in the car. We got to Golden Steer literally like 4:59, so a minute before the reservation. Checked in. They were like, oh, yeah, hi, happy anniversary.
And just so you know, Golden Steer doesn't open at 5. That's what time it actually opens. So we were literally, the moment it opened, that's when our reservation was.
And surprisingly, there were several people already in there seated. Which was interesting.
Yeah.
So
but
yeah,
they didn't answer the phone until 5.
Yeah, nobody answered the phone because I was trying to call them too because I was like, oh, shish kebabs. Like maybe I should like call them and be like, maybe we might be late because you never know how traffic is down there. So we get there. Like I said, they said happy anniversary. We start walking to our table and they sat us at a table in the middle of the restaurant.
Well, they walked us past a ton of empty booths too. You're losing that point too. Like there was probably four couples? No, there's probably about 4 people in the restaurant. All of them were in booths.
Yeah.
And the entire middle of the restaurant is empty. And there was a side room where we actually had our meal. There were people at that big table, but that didn't really have any effect on us. That wouldn't be the table they would get anyways. Walks us past like a ton of booths.
Yeah. Ton of booths.
And that was just the ones that were close to us. There was totally in the other room. There were still more booths. And we're like, why are you sitting us in the middle of this room?
So we get to the table and I was like, I'm sorry, can we please have a booth? Like, it's our anniversary. And the person that was seating us, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, those are reserved. And I was like, I'm sorry, this is my anniversary. I put that in the notes. They're like, oh, well, you would have had to ask for a booth in the notes. I'm like, I'm sorry. I thought me telling you that this was my anniversary.
The place was empty too.
Was enough for me to get sat at a nice intimate table. Because again, keep in mind, it's 5 p.m. on a
Tuesday.
Was it a Tuesday or Sunday? I think it was one of those two.
Oh, you're right. It was a Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was a Sunday. So not usually peak times for usually people are heading back home on Sunday.
Right.
Sunday's not usually the busiest night to go out to eat in Vegas. So he's like, well, let me go check. So he leaves us for a minute. And of course, I'm slightly hopeful that maybe they're going to make this right. He comes back and he's like, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. Those booths are reserved for people who reserve those booths. And I was like, okay, well, I think this is a little ridiculous. I made this reservation 6 months ago. I said it was my anniversary. And I think it's a little ridiculous that you're going to sit me at this table.
And there's nothing on the website for reserving booths either.
It doesn't say like if you want a booth.
Viewer, just so when you go to the website, you basically just put the reservation. It just asks, is there anything special? And that's all you put, is that it's an anniversary. It's like special, is it your birthday or anniversary? And that's all they ask you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't ask you for a booth. So he's just basically lying to us at this point.
So I was like, but there's several empty booths here. I'm not really sure what's going on. And he's like, well, you can wait for a booth. Wait. Okay. And I looked at this man and I was just like, I'm sorry, wait for who? Literally, those words came out of my mouth because I didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me. Who am I waiting for if nobody is here?
Yep. And there was no one in the parking lot. We were there after this. No one came in after us for at least a good 10, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There was no one who even entered the restaurant. So who would we have been waiting for? How long we would have to wait?
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what was
idea.
Not clear to me was like, how long was I going to have to wait? Where was I going to go? Was I going to go to the bar? Are you going to give me free drinks? Like, how are you going to make this better?
Yeah.
And so finally, I just could feel a wall and like nothing else was going to change. So I was like, well, whatever. We'll just sit down and eat. And Gary's like, no. He's like, no, this isn't worth it. He's like, they don't care about us now. They're not going to care about us later.
Yeah, my thing was, like, if you go to a restaurant and they're already treating you like dirt before you even sit down, that's the best they're going to do because that's their con to get you in. And I mean that in the most politest way to restaurants, because basically it's the show to get you in. Once you're in, you're stuck.
Yep.
Like, you got to eat there. So the show is going to be the best part of the whole thing. And the fact that they were just so disconnected. And also, I feel like he was looking for money.
Yeah.
He was looking for money. Because, again, the restaurant was empty. We left. And we sat in the parking lot trying to figure out what we were going to do next. For a good,
I cried a little. I'm not going to lie. I cried a little because I was frustrated.
Yeah. But we sat in the parking lot for about 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just figuring out. And we did find something out. And for you've hopefully seen the video because it'll be up before this podcast. We decided to go to the Bellagio. But we decided, like, where are we going to go? We want to go to someplace nice.
Maybe one table walked in.
No one walked in. I was watching. No one. There's a security guard out front. He was sitting in front of the door. He never moved after we left.
Yeah.
He literally never moved. I know, because I looked and I was like, this is ridiculous. I have no idea how long we would have had to wait. And like, where do you wait, by the way? If you've ever been to the Golden Steer, it has a bar.
How awkward is that going to be?
The Golden Steer has a bar, and then you walk in and basically it's a dining room. There's no place to wait. We'd have to wait outside in the Vegas heat, which isn't too bad because it's only in the 90s, but it's still a little warm.
Yeah.
We're dressed up to go to this place, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna do this. I've ate at too many fancy restaurants. I know how this works. If you wait them out, they'll treat you like dirt because they'll know you just take whatever they give you. So you'll probably get some nasty steak. You'll get whatever's left over. That's how it rolls.
They're not going to care. Like the service isn't. They're not going to care. They're not going to. It's just, and I'm glad we did that. It definitely was the better decision for us to leave because we did have a better night. We did. We had a way better night, way better meal.
And then the sad part is that we did follow up with Golden Steer, and the only way to contact them is through their webpage. So I did a whole web contact, sent them a message. Not a thing. Response.
Crickets.
Nothing.
And it's been over a week now.
And it's just like, you guys are pitiful. I've even commented on a bunch of their posts. They're like, we're so great. It's like, dude, we went there. You guys treated us like dirt and we left. I would not recommend it. Golden Steer, honestly, it used to be our go-to in Vegas. We'd be like, this is where you need to go. Like every person, look at our videos. Every person that we said, we're like, this is the place.
Yep.
This is the better steakhouse that we've had so far. And we've had just about everyone. There's a couple we still haven't got to yet. But we've had almost every steak in Vegas, and they were definitely up there. Not anymore. Like
I think service, like you can have good food, but service definitely plays a key role into whether or not we want to recommend a restaurant.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I look at it like if I'm recommending a restaurant to you guys, that's me personally putting my integrity on the line of like I vouch for this.
Yeah.
And I take that seriously. And I know you do too. And I think it was definitely an experience that made us take a step back. And I don't know that in the future we're going to send people that way, because I don't think it's fair that you should be treated any differently because somebody's looking for a tip.
And one of the funny things too was like right before we went, it was about a week before we went, we got a message on our Golden Steer video. And he's like, hey, I went there. It was a horrible experience. He's like, it was just absolutely horrible. Horrible service. The food wasn't good. He's like, just so you know. And then I'm like, well, I'm like, thank you. This was like a year and a half ago. So it could have changed in that time, obviously. That's the thing about YouTube. We put the videos out and then things happen between there. But I didn't believe him, honestly. I mean, I didn't think he was lying, but I just was like, nah, it can't be that bad. And then we go there. And as soon as they did that, that clicked in my head. And I was like, yep, this is the experience we're going to have tonight if we stay here. And it was like, nope, not worth paying the price point to be disappointed. We'd at least pay $400 to $500 for
easily.
that meal. Yeah, just for the two of us, because we would have got drinks.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did at Lago. We spent probably about $600 that night between Lago and
we went
Baccarat.
and had drinks at the Bellagio before we ate, and then we had drinks and dinner. And
we went to the Baccarat Lounge at Bellagio, and then we hung out there for probably about an hour and a half. And then we went to Lago, and again, Lago is a hidden gem on the Strip, y'all.
Yeah, that is our. I think Lago is my new go-to, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been to everything yet, so I'd be hesitant to say it's my go-to, but it's really good. And if somebody asks for a recommendation, that's what I'm going to tell them.
Because you can definitely get a reservation day of.
Oh yeah,
it's one of those places that you gem. Don't think is going to be anything. It literally looks like a hole in the wall, but you get a spectacular view of the fountains.
Yeah, which, wow, if you're on the Strip and looking at the fountains, they're gone.
So they're gone.
This is literally the best place to see the fountains, in my opinion right now.
100% agree. Yep. And the service, honestly, our waiter that night was a little iffy.
He was short and foreign.
But
I mean, short by angry.
He still got our order perfect.
Yeah.
He listened to me because I know apparently an off the menu shoot. So you guys got to watch that video if you want to see like the hidden menu item that I get, and it is absolutely delicious and to die for, and you will not regret it as long as you like seafood. I know some people might have allergies or seafood might not be your alley, but delicious.
My one complaint with the restaurant was that the waiter didn't tell us, because it was both our anniversaries, my anniversary and both of our birthdays, that they were going to give us free desserts for each one of those.
Yeah, we weren't expecting that.
So we got
3 desserts.
We got 3 pieces of cheesecake. And it was like, if I had known that there was going to be other pieces of cheesecake, I would have ordered like the chocolate or not anything at all, honestly. Yeah. So I ate 2.5 pieces of cheesecake because Nathan's not eating much lately. And it was good. I mean, I love their cheesecake.
And their cheesecake's made with ricotta. So it's just,
it's a great cheesecake.
Their cheesecake is to die for. Lago is my new favorite place to go. And it's not super fancy. I mean, it's nice.
It's fancy. Yeah, it's fancy.
It's nice, but it's not like you have to go to all the nines. You can, and you'll fit in.
I would say that that's the one benefit of that restaurant. There's a good mix of people who are just sitting at the bar, which is a really nice bar if you want to go in there and have drinks, and you can still see the fountain. And then there's people who are really dressed up because they're literally in the best place to look at the fountains now. Yeah. So if you're going to the Bellagio and you want to see the fountains, Lago is the place to go.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Lago is absolutely the place to go. So you have those people totally dressed up. So I would say that there's a good mix in there. You can totally dress up because there are a ton of people who do that. But there's also people just in like coats and jackets or even like khakis and nice shirts and just sitting at the bar drinking.
Yeah. And so the other thing that was awesome. That was it. We had a better night. It ended up really good. And then
it was an amazing night. And we also got to see the Conservancy, which we had been wanting to go to.
The fall. I'm really in love with the fall overlay this year. I like it better than last year, but that's just me, personal preference. So
I would say I love the Conservancy. Every time has been spectacular. There's always little cool pieces to it. There's always little things to look at. I think it was really well done this time too. The tree was awesome. The whole like ornaments orchestra sort of setting on the one side with the instruments and stuff. Super cool. And again, a legit tip there. The best thing on the Strip that's free, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Since you can't see the fountains anymore, it is the best trip on the thing.
It really is. Honestly, like, It's definitely one of our favorite stops, and we just like to go in there like daytime, nighttime, and it definitely gives you a different feel. You have to, if you can, and you have the time, you should definitely check it out during the daytime because it's a totally different vibe. And then if you want, something nice and calm, like go back at night, and it's just a completely different ambiance. And like last year was a bunch of giant pumpkins, which was really cool because we were like going around and seeing like which one's the biggest pumpkin and like how much do they weigh.
Gourds everywhere.
And this year was all about fairies, and it was very folky. It was very folky, like into the woods. A lot of folklore, literally. They had like a big book that was about like fairy tales, and then there were fairies and cottages and like mushrooms, and I don't know, I just really, really got into the fairy vibe. So I absolutely loved it. So
I loved it too. I mean, like again, the water vibe with the kois and stuff. You have all the like mushroom houses were really cool to look at too. I mean, overall, and the smells. And it
yeah,
was,
the
like,
smells
plugged
are
in like
always divine
like
in
a
that
pumpkin
place.
cinnamony smell. It was good. And top that with the food. Now we wanted to do the eating inside the
Yeah.
conservancy, and we might do that before we leave. And that's one thing that we'd like to try, but it just didn't have any openings. We would have done it, but
It requires some planning. And
Yeah.
honestly, that night I was like, what if I check these reservations and they
Right.
have an open table? Like, what if? Like, that would have just been the creme de la creme on the top, but they didn't. So maybe Christmas time or springtime. I'm not really sure. We still got another several months that we're still here in Vegas. So who knows
Yeah.
what's going to happen. But if you guys want to really see that video, see that night, see all the emotions, definitely go check that out over on YouTube. And then fast forward, it was my birthday night, and we went to Benihana for the first time ever.
Well, I mean, we started the day seeing Taylor Swift and going to the Punk Rock Museum, and then we went to Benihana.
Yes, yeah. I just gotta say, I absolutely love the Taylor Swift video movie thing at AMC. I purposefully tried to find a showing that there wasn't going to be a lot of people in, because while I think it's really great that the Swifties are dancing and really getting into it, it's just not my vibe. I'm not going to get up and dance, and I wanted to be able to see the screen, and I wanted to be able to enjoy it the way I wanted to. So we purposely found a showing that was like literally had like maybe 6 people in it, and it was good. I had a lot of fun. And then we got in the car and I dealt with low blood sugar, which was so much fun. And we went to the Punk Rock Museum and explored that. And that was interesting. We learned some interesting things about that place. And
I mean, for a strip attraction, it's rather large, which is nice.
yeah,
And it was a good museum. Yeah. I mean, it's not the most interesting museum. It's not the biggest museum, but it is a really good museum. And it definitely, if you're an old school, like late 70s, early 80s punk fan, you're going to love this museum, because that's the biggest focus. I mean, they had some 2000s after 2000 stuff that was really good, which is more when I got into punk. But the pre-stuff in the 70s, 80s, really well done there. Really well done.
and they have a bar. So you can literally go
some
there and hang
tattoos.
out.
Yeah.
And a tattoo shop. So you can literally just go there and hang out if you wanted to. They do card you at the door. Make sure you get your ID, and don't bring book bags. That's my 2 words of wisdom. Don't bring book bags unless you want to pay a $5 check charge, because they will check
Charge
it.
you. Yes, they force
But
you to
it's
check it.
$5 to
Then
check
charge
it.
you. Yeah.
And
Vegas.
they do card you at the door, and they'll give you a wristband as to whether or not you're over 21.
And then we came home, and then we got the car service at Benihana. Now we got to take one of the it's newer the
Tesla.
Teslas with the gull wing doors.
The gold wing, the doors.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
It's weird because you don't know what to do when the
Right.
doors are coming down. I'm like,
yeah, do we scrunch in? Am I going to be too far out?
it was weird, but it was really fun, honestly.
Yeah, it was a nice trip.
Yeah. And then they gave us a bottle of champagne,
Yeah, they gave us a bunch of
which is still
Which
in
is
my
nice.
fridge.
Yeah, we didn't have that yet. And it was fun. And Benihana was great.
Yeah.
So it was our first time going to Benihana. And as I said in the video, I have always had a passion for Benihana. I used to watch the show Chuck, which, if you don't know, he's like this super spy who gets this totally gorgeous, absolutely stunning girl. And she ends up being like a spy too. And then his best friend ends up becoming a spy. And it's got Adam Baldwin in it, who's fantastic as well. And so it's like that this cool dynamic. And I think it was like season 2, end of season 2 or into season 3. Morgan, who's his best friend, goes to Hawaii because he wants to learn the ancient art of Japanese takeouts.
Why Hawaii though? It's so random that it's in Hawaii.
Because Benihana is from Hawaii, babe.
Oh.
Yeah, it's originally from Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So he goes to the original Benihana in Hawaii and becomes a master Japanese chef. And I've always wanted to try it since then. And there was one in Orlando, but Nacy liked the other one in Orlando a lot, so we never really went to Benihana. And that's not to hit on Benihana. She really liked it, so why change? And this one came available. And just so you know, a legit tip, the one in the Westgate is only opened on the weekends and like Thursday through Sunday. The one that's in the mall is open 7 days a week. So
and they're both pretty much strippy to a way. Like the
100%.
Westgate is a little bit on the other side of the strip.
Yes.
And then the Fashion Show Mall is like right there with the Wynn.
It's really not that far from each other.
They're really not. They're like a block or two maybe from each other.
It's a little difficult to get to with the roads, but it's really kind of next to each other if you could walk through
weird. It's kind of weird. So we had a fantastic
Loved it.
dinner. It was good. Like it was really good. And the guy who was our cook that night, definitely one of his first nights cooking, I think, or maybe he was newer.
Oh, he was new for sure. Yeah.
And he definitely messed up a couple of things, but honestly, like no hate, bro. Like you're just trying your best. And honestly, I kept telling him like, it's okay. Like I'm not in a hurry. You don't need to worry about it. Like you're doing a great job. Like kudos to you. Like you're here. You showed up. That's all that matters. Like you're cooking my food.
And the poor guy, no one at the table was smiling when we sat down.
Yeah, nobody.
There was 4 other people there. They were both couples. It looked like 2 guys in a work trip were there. And then there was a couple at the other end. And then there was us at the far end. Mm-hmm. No smiles.
Nobody was smiling. Nobody was talking to each other.
The couple looked like the lady was about to slit the dude's throat. I don't know why they were so upset. It didn't make sense. And then the 2 guys
weren't talking.
Said like 3 words the entire time to each other. Yeah. That was it. He talked to us more at the end.
And he talked to his friend.
Then he talked to his friend. Yeah, he's like, don't I know you guys from somewhere? And we're like, I don't know. That's what we always say. We're like, I don't know.
I don't know. You know.
Maybe you've seen us.
Maybe he's like, oh, I think I've seen your channel. And we're like, cool. That's awesome. I'm glad you've checked it out. But it was really good. Like the service was really good. They sent us home with 4 containers of yummy sauce because she was so nice.
Yeah, we had a fishbowl drink that was like a
mostly juice, but still good. Yeah,
it was still tasty.
It was still good.
It wasn't very alcoholic, but again, it's Las Vegas. None of the drinks are alcoholic. We literally went to the Baccarat bar for my birthday or whatever you want to call that, and those drinks were watered down too.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even really feel drunky that night, and I had 2 drinks.
I had, I think, 4 or 6. And I didn't feel anything, but I mean, I drank a lot to get drunk if I wanted to. But
it's weird for me lately. It seems like the shit I drink, it's just not hitting me the same. I mean, later it does, and then I don't feel good. But it's been a fun roller coaster trying to figure out drinking. And
so October was a fun month.
Yeah.
Then we're heading off to South Carolina. And then
we got a lot of stuff coming up, and we're
going to talk
really
about
excited.
that later in the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming up, next up, we got holidays.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our holidays. So.
Oh, but you know what? There's one more thing we should talk about.
Okay.
And that's Hallmark ornaments.
Oh, did you want to talk about that now?
I mean, yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, we should have brought them in here. You're supposed to make a TikTok, but as usual, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done.
It's just my brain lately. I'm going to be better.
I'm slammed, so I'm trying to get this tax stuff done.
He has been the rock. He is like running the show right now because
I got business cards. I got digital business cards finished this last night. I literally just was like, I'm just going to do this. So we've been doing a whole bunch of stuff.
T-shirts. We got T-shirts, which we're not wearing. I'm sorry that we're not wearing them, but look for them in future videos. We're gonna be styling them.
You can find them at TeePublic. You look us up, Lost Girl in Tomorrowland on TeePublic, and you can find the 4 different designs we submitted. We did a basic design, 2 sort of
all designed by Gary.
Nacy pictures, and then we have just kind of like a come get lost with us one that's kind of like a cute little plane circling the globe. They're really nice, and I love the tie-dye stuff.
Yeah, I love the tie-dye shirt. Like it's in the material, I have to say we ordered them because obviously we're not gonna like put them out there if we don't like the quality
Right.
of
Yeah, we
them.
wanted to test them out.
So we tested them out first and we absolutely love them. Like love them. So if you guys want to support the channel in a different way, you can always go buy us a t-shirt, and we do get a portion of the profits from the t-shirt sales.
Well,
not a huge profit, but
who cares? You don't need to tell people what the profit is. Anyways, we also are officially monetized on YouTube.
whoa.
So not only
okay,
that.
that's what you got to cheer for.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what you got. You got to cheer. You got to cheer for.
I gotta change these smart buttons over. Okay.
It's kind of long.
But anyways, so now we actually have tiers, so you can actually join the legit family and some other things. So you can get some backstage information. You can still get the postcards instead of going over to Patreon and doing it. You can do that all through YouTube. You can also give us super likes now, and there's a lot of other stuff too that we're super excited for. We're just sort of diving in, and when we get to the part about Google Ads, you'll know our frustration and how absolutely jubilant I am that we have finally got past step
We literally
one.
today,
right before the show,
literally confirmed that we are golden.
Yep.
And everything is done, and we're so excited. We're so thankful.
Yeah,
First of all,
thankful to you guys are actually following us. I mean, it's crazy.
We would not be here if you guys didn't hit that follow button.
People actually enjoy listening to us. I never thought that would be the case. I mean, I taught at university, folks, and I didn't think people enjoyed listening to me there. I can't imagine.
Just have to say like a huge thank you to the people that are listening to us, the people who have listened to us from the beginning. And I'm just going to throw this out here. And I know it was like last month's birthday, but I'm just going to say happy birthday, Joe. Like, thanks, Joe, for always being there for us, listening to our shit, supporting us, and like literally being our biggest fan.
Yeah,
like,
we love you, man.
We are so thankful. And, but yeah, it's literally, this month has, so many things have happened this month. It's been...
So let's talk about the Hallmark ornaments, because you brought them up and your ADHD took you off target again.
Always.
So Hallmark ornaments.
Yeah, so if you guys don't...
Hold on, let me do this.
Okay,
I want the Hallmark ornaments. I am the one who literally stalked the Hallmark website to get this stuff.
Because he
the right
can.
to change.
He literally can.
So amazing. So we got the storytellers last year. You can check that out on our channel for the Star Wars storytellers. We posted a whole video about them last year. We did a bunch of TikToks too, and they're on Instagram as well, like showing what they do. This year they had Haunted Mansion. Now, I was a little hesitant because again, we don't need a tree topper, so it doesn't really fit our scheme. Yeah. But we're like, we'll just put it in a reef or something. Nacy was in South Carolina.
I was in Myrtle Beach, so I wasn't even in the town. It was literally the day before I had to leave.
Yeah.
And I told him, I woke up that morning, and for some reason, I was like, let me check. Because birthdays were coming up, and I was like, maybe I can get some stuff for him without telling him. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, let me look. And then I was like, oh, they restocked online. And I was like, hey, go check it out. And he's like, cool. So he goes online, he does his thing with the ornaments, with what he could get. And then I was like, I wonder, because online, the actual Haunted Mansion house, the tree topper, was sold out. Okay. It's been sold out everywhere. We can't find it in Vegas. We've tried.
Well, that's a whole nother that we'll get to after we tell you how we got it. We'll tell you why.
So, like we couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, well, look online and see if there's any stores in Charleston or anywhere in Myrtle Beach that might have it in stock. Well, he looks online and there's a store in Charleston that said they had one in the store. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm in Myrtle Beach. I should be heading back home soon. I'll call them and I'll see if they really have it in stock and if I can get it. So I called the store. I was actually in the parking lot of a different Hallmark. I called the store, talked to the lady, and she was like, well, I think we have to go through the people on our wish list first, which is a whole thing that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But once we go through that list, I'll call you and I'll let you know if we still have it. Because apparently wish list is people basically turning lists into the store and saying, I want this, and they'll hold it for them. Crazy. And I was like, cool, thank you. It's okay if you don't call me back. I understand. So I hung up with her and I'm like, I'm going to go in the store. And I literally went in the store to get Gary a birthday card That was it. That was the only reason I went in that store, because he said he had got the other ornaments online already. So I knew I didn't need to buy those. And
that were out at the time.
Yeah, that were currently out at the time. This was
before the 15th
this was like
launch.
before October.
15th, yes.
So I was like, I'm just going to go in here. I'm just going to get him a birthday card. Maybe I'll get some wrapping paper for the gifts I'm going to get him. That was my whole plan going into the store, because I'm traveling literally the next day. I'm going home and I don't need bulk. So I go in the store, I'm walking around, I'm just kind of looking. The lady comes up to me and she's like, hey, like, how's your day going? And I'm like, it's okay. She's like, can I help you with anything? I'm like, well, everything I want sold out. She's like, oh, well, what are you looking for? And I was like, honestly, the Haunted Mansion tree topper. And she looks at me and she's like, well, it's funny that you say that. I think, and don't hold me to this, I think we have one in the back. Again, I can't make any promises, but I'm going to go look. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, it's cool if you don't have it, but thank you. And so I'm looking through birthday cards and a couple minutes goes by and here she comes around the corner and she was like, you're never going to believe this, but I found you one. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And so I'm in Myrtle Beach. I have to now figure out how I'm going to get this big box, because this thing is big. It's like 12 by 12 box. Like, it's a big box. And I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you. I bought it. And I'm like, I called Gary. I'm like, you're never going to believe what I just got. Because I wasn't going to tell him until after I had it. I wanted to make sure it physically was in my hands. And I told him, and I was like, guess what? I got the Haunted Mansion tree topper. But now I got to figure out how we're going to get it home, because I don't have a suitcase big enough for this. So we kept it in the Hallmark bag, and I used it as my carry-on, my second carry-on, because you get 2 carry-ons with Delta. And I put that thing in the overhead bin, and that thing flew from Myrtle Beach back to Las Vegas. What are the chances? Like, crazy. Mm-hmm. Maybe we are a little crazy about these ornaments, but we really wanted it. And it is absolutely worth it. Amazing. Oh, yeah.
And then, so we got the Madame Leota at the time, and then we got the Let Me Out guy. I don't know what his name is.
I don't know his name either.
But if you've ever rode the ride, it's basically the
he's
first
in the
room.
coffin.
Yeah, he's like, let me out, let me out, let me
out, let me out, let me out,
let me out, let me out. You know, he's like that. So, super cool. We got those two. And then we were like, okay, so this was before the 15th. She got back, and then a few days later, it was the 15th. So we're like, okay, let's just go to our favorite Hallmark, because there's a one in Vegas that we used to go to.
That we loved. The people were nice. They were great. They were like super helpful.
And we say used to, because we used to go to them. We spent a ton of money there last year. We bought all of the storytellers. We bought a bunch of other ornaments too.
It was definitely, we spent a lot of money last year.
So we went there. We got there at 9 when they opened. We literally were just waiting out in the parking lot like 8:50. We waited till 9. They opened. Mm-hmm. No big deal. No one was there, which was our first clue that something was wrong.
Nobody.
Well, I shouldn't say nobody. There was
one couple walked in.
Yeah, there's like maybe an old lady that was there, and then there was like this mom, grandmother, child that came in after us too. And so we go over there, and all we needed was the Victor Geist.
And he's the guy that plays the organ.
And he's the guy that plays the organ in the dancing scene. So if you're in the dancing scene, he's in the corner playing the organ. That's the only one we needed from that. And then I was looking for the Sega Dreamcast. Those are the two that we were planning on getting. We were going to look at some other ones too, but those are the main two. Walk in, there's a Sega Dreamcast. Cool, no problem. Pick that up. The entire Haunted Mansion is already gone.
Gone.
Nothing is there. And then they had a Superman ornament. Gone. They had most of the ornaments. Most of the new ornaments were gone.
Gone.
Luckily, they had the Sega Dreamcast, which is so random. And so we walked up to the lady. We're like, what's going on here? Like, where did all of it go? Oh, you got to get on the list. And Daisy's like, I'm sorry, the list? You have to get on the list.
I was like, can you explain this to me? Because I shop here all the time.
And we should have got the email, but we didn't. So for some odd reason, we're not getting the information from them.
I literally shop at this store. We were there in June
to get ornaments. Yeah.
And then I think we've stopped in one more time since then. And obviously we made plans to be there for the ornament debut, which is October 15th. Yeah. Like we made plans.
The calendars.
Like we were ready.
Yeah.
And we woke up that morning, and the thing is Gary checked online, and he was on there, right? Yeah. He was on there, but he was like, we're going to go to the store. We're going to make it an experience.
But plus then I want to pay local. So I wanted to give the money to a local business because if you don't know, Hallmarks are, most of them, there are some that are corporate stores, but most of them are actually owned by individuals who live in the community. So I was like, well, I'd rather just give my money to them than give it to just a website.
And this, I mean, she was very nice. The girl was very nice. She was trying to be helpful. But yeah, she did try to sell me some bullshit ornaments, but.
Well, did she sign you up for the list that she kept talking about? She kept talking about this list, but never gave us the opportunity to get on it. So
no,
how helpful are you really?
That's true.
You're like, there's a wish list. Okay, how do we get on it? And then she would just change the subject and start talking about something else. Like, we would like to be on it. We've spent over $1,000 last year in this store alone.
Yeah.
We would like to be on that list.
And this is like a continual thing too. It's not like we're like a one and done type deal. Like
we buy our cards there. We buy our cards there. We buy the gift wrap stuff there, unless I buy crappy Walmart, which I'm never doing again. But we buy everything there. That's
our tree. Our Christmas tree is like 90% Hallmark ornaments, and there's a few here or there that are stuff that we've bought at like Disney parks or whatever. But majority of our tree is Hallmark, like our tree toppers, like everything. So we spend a lot of money on Hallmark. We really do love Hallmark ornaments. It's like a thing for us. So it was just kind of like a slap in the face that we couldn't really figure out. But basically what ended up happening is everybody, you fill out a wish list, and you can apparently either fill out this wish list online, or you can, or they have like a piece of paper that you can fill out and bring back to the store. And based on the order of their received, which is kind of weird, but I don't really know how well they're really taking care of this, but they go in order of wish lists that are received, and they'll go through them in terms of the ornaments that come in. So the Victor Geist, let's just talk about him. So if there were 50 people that wanted them and they only had 20, they would go through the list and they would call the 20. And if you wanted them, great, you could come in and get them. If you didn't, it went to the next person. And they do that apparently for all of the ornaments on the wish list. And this is something new that I don't think I've heard of. It's never been explained to me by anybody in any of the stores to be like, hey, if you want this, you should do this, and you should do it now.
Well, and on top of that, she blatantly lied to us. She's like, oh, we've never gotten any restocks of any of the Haunted Mansion ornaments. And I know that's a lie because there's a store in California that's 200 miles away from us, right? And that's one of the like 10 closest stores to us, which is crazy if you think about it.
Joys of living in a dust bowl.
Right. So it's one of the closest stores to us, and it would refill just about every week. They would have some ornaments, or they would have the tree topper, and they would just keep getting it. So there's no way that somehow they're getting it, and yet the Vegas stores, which there's only like 8 of them, never got it.
It's weird. It's so weird.
Clearly one of them are reselling it, or they have a really long wish list. My guess is reselling, because if you look at the amount that they sell them for online, they're selling them for hundreds to $200 above what they're costing.
Also, too, the one thing I would like to note is when we went into the store that day, last week, they weren't the same employees that were there the last time we were there.
No, because they were older ladies.
Yeah. And super helpful. They were very nice.
Super sweet older. They reminded me of my grandparents. Like, like the super sweet grandma. They were just awesome. They literally gave us free stuff. Like, here, you're supposed to spend this much. You're close enough, though. Here, you enjoy it. And they bleep.
They're like, you guys have spent enough money.
And they didn't give us a card marking how many we bought. They didn't give us any of the bonuses you're supposed to get.
She didn't mark any of the ornaments. Yeah.
The free bag or the free ornaments that we were supposed to get. Nothing. Like, it was just horrible. It
was a bad customer service experience, and it's almost enough for me to want to write the store to be like.
And then she was like, you can just go to the other stores in the area and see if they have it. Yeah, I'm going to waste my whole day doing that.
And as a former employee of Hallmark, I've worked in a lot of retail, honestly. But I can remember people coming into the store for Hallmark ornaments, and we would call other stores for them.
Yeah, of course you would.
Like, because in the mall that we had in our old hometown, there were 2 Hallmark stores in the same mall.
Yeah.
There was one on this side and one on this side. But we would call around for them and be like, hey, like, do you guys have this? Or because we can't really check the stock, which is shitty. But you can call them, and that is called going above and beyond and doing, like, just that is what people expect when you go to a store like Hallmark. Like, they go there because they want.
And that's what's interesting, because there's no one else in the store. Once we left, the mom and her daughter and the grandmother was still there kind of looking at some things. but the store was empty and there was no one outside. So
Yeah, so
it's
they had
not
had
like,
a premiere party the night before is what they had told us, and that's
right.
when they all
And
sold out.
and that's where they sold all the stuff that we supposedly should have been invited to, but she didn't care to check to make sure we're invited to the next one. She also didn't care to do anything, honestly.
And it's weird because that store specifically updated all of my information.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
last
we
time
with the old ladies.
Yeah, they
Yep.
made sure my phone number was good. They made sure my address was updated in the
Email,
system,
yep.
everything. So I know they have the correct information because that was kind of a problem for the last couple years is like people couldn't find me. And none of the Hallmarks had ever offered to like actually fix it and update it for me, but they did. So in my head, I'm like, okay, like this is my store.
Yeah.
Like you guys are my store.
We drove past 3 stores to get there. Like, I mean, we actually go out of our way to go to this Hallmark store because they were good. So we went back. Now I'm just going to get them online. I'm just not going to, it's an extra headache. That's just not worth it. And I was up. I should have just ordered it then. We wouldn't even had to have got up. I could have just went back to sleep. Like,
So we ended up paying slightly more than market price, but
no, we paid market price. I just had to pay an extra $15 because we're leaving and it would have took too long for it to get
okay.
here. So I had to pay a little bit extra on the shipping, but we paid just the Hallmark price. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
So now we have the complete collection.
Yeah. We got Victor Geist, Guy in Tomb. I don't know the Let Me Out guy. And then Manoliota is fantastic, by the way, and the Tree Topper.
And all of them together is really cool. The one thing we were surprised, though, is that they did not do a Hatbox Ghost
Yet. Again, with the Star Wars, though, they released 3 of them the first year, which is what they did with Haunted Mansion. Then they released 3 the second year. So my guess is Hatbox Ghost, lady screaming at you for your death certificate at the end. And then it's kind of up in the air. Maybe the Hitchhikers, but they've already done Hitchhikers.
They'll probably do like Constance Hatchaway.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's like,
Yep. You're right.
till death do us part. And she says some other stuff.
Isn't that the death certificate lady, though?
No, she's a different lady.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 999 ghosts.
Yeah, I know that. Because they do that voice, the lady at the end. So I'm 100% sure she's going to be next year because they always they don't really add stuff. They just take pieces that are already there and make it.
Pull it. Yeah. The
Because
other
it's already
one,
programmed. They already know what's going to come
the
out.
only other thing I could see maybe them doing is maybe doing like the headstones.
The singing headstones.
The singing headstones.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be really cool. Or possibly doing the hitchhiking ghosts. Like integrating the hitchhiking ghost into it.
Or like the Crypt Keeper would be an option too, because that would be that scene as well.
They didn't do the voice like a ghost will follow you home. Like they didn't add that line.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think I remember hearing like or maybe do something with a doom buggy. I mean, there's a couple of things. I think there's definitely room for them to add. I will say the one disappointment that I have not found yet, and I probably will have to pay more than market price, is the Han Solo going in.
I haven't been looking for that. See, the problem with those ornaments, we have the Fantasia ornament, which is exactly like the Han Solo is. It's a girthy ornament that can't go on a tree, so you're kind of stuck with it. I don't like it. It breaks so easily, and my thoughts are the Han Solo one's going to be the same way, so I haven't even been looking for that, honestly.
I just want to complete the collection.
It's a cool ornament. It's just I just don't think it's going to last. And I was already frustrated. We got the Battlestar Galactica ornament. It's super tiny. It takes super, super tiny hearing aid batteries.
And it doesn't do much.
It's so frail. Yeah, and it's only got like 3 lights on it. It's like, this is disappointing. And then when it's in the box, it's like in wrapping. So it's just in like parchment paper, I guess is what it is. And then there's 2 parchment paper balls on each side of it to keep it flat in the box instead of doing like a clamshell thing. It's like, you are so cheap, Hallmark.
Yeah.
And yet the ornament's $30-something.
So that's kind of what we've been up to.
I know it's a little bit off topic there.
I know it's been, but you know what? It's going to bring us into the holidays and talking about our traditions, those kinds of things. So
we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. All right, that concludes this episode of Awkward Chat's preview of November 2023.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of hearing what we've been up to and like a little bit of behind the scenes of the stories that you guys have seen on the channel, because it's been a busy month.
Yeah, it's been a busy month, and we try to stay as optimistic as possible in our videos, so a lot of the stuff sort of falls on the wayside because we don't just want to pile on to some of these places.
Yeah.
And so this is a great opportunity. Check us out on Awkward Chats, where we talk more in depth about what really happened behind the scenes and sort of some of the ways that we got into the fun that we get into.
And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
And hit that subscribe button.
Make sure you ring that notification bell so that way you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye everybody.